Hello, everyone, and welcome. So today I decided to do a late night reading. Little Bangs is messing with the filter, but I decided to do a little late night reading. I felt compelled to. The moon has been very much calling to me lately, so I decided to, in honor of her, just to do a late night reading, but to do one for the mind, the body, and the soul. So I did not forget. I always keep my word. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do a mind, body, and soul reading. We haven't done one of these in a while. So I really want to go ahead and dive into the course of action. Okay? Jeez Louise. Pumpkin and cheese. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. This will just be in regards to, again, the mind, body, and soul just overall. Then we can dive into the career, love life, situational things, depending on how they come up with the first reading, okay? So, Spirit, what do we have for the mind? For the mind. Okay. What do we have for the body? Spirit, what do we have for the body? Got too many cards, they're in my way now. There we go. Alright, and then what do we have for the soul? What do we have for the soul? That was a lot of cards. We don't need all those. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm out of water. That's okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the mind. For the mind, we have patience and understanding go hand in hand. Time to forgive and move forward. So what this is letting us know is that mentally, sometimes we feel like we have the capacity to hold on to something. We have the capacity to think about something. We have the capacity to continuously talk about something, go over something over and over and over again. But if patience and understanding go hand in hand, right? And you're trying to have patience for something that you just cannot wrap your hand around. You just are not understanding. You're just like, I don't get why they would do that. I don't get why they would say that. I don't get why this would happen. I don't get what. You have to forgive and move forward. You have to forgive yourself for staying there for so long. You have to forgive yourself for overthinking, overanalyzing. You have to forgive yourself for decisions made. You have to forgive yourself for anything in that matter and move forward. Because the patience and understanding go hand in hand, and mentally, it is something that we hold inside of ourselves. We want to make sure that in all aspects of being mentally, since that is our action and how we think to move, if I want to do this, if I feel like this, if I'm thinking about this, I'm going to do it, so forth and so on. Yeah, sorry, we have to make sure that that is it. So sometimes we feel like, again, we have the capacity or space to think about something, do something over and over and over again, and in actuality, it's weighing on us. Right? It is making our patience thin for other things, possibly. I don't have enough patience for myself. I don't have enough patience for my kids. I don't have enough patience for my friends, family, my animals. I'm snapping at people. I'm making quick, rash decisions, and because I cannot understand something, or I do understand something, but I don't have enough patience to deal with this person or this situation while I'm healing over it or while I'm trying to deal with it, right? So patience and understanding go hand in hand, but sometimes it can be one that we currently have and not the other, and that can cause quite the imbalance, especially mentally. So whatever you're mentally holding on to that is confusing you, that is making you question, that is making you frustrated, that is making you wonder, where you keep talking about it over and over and over again, you're just not sure, contemplating, don't have patience for confusion. Right? If you're not able to get answers, if you are not able to gather an understanding, if you are not able to come to a resolution, if you aren't even able to have a conversation, don't have patience for that, right? And if you have an understanding for something, do you need to have the capacity for that patience? So kind of take that, especially mentally. We have not your leader, a temple, respect, worth, and truth. is our next card for mental. So mentally, we have to be prepared that sometimes we cannot, again, take on everything ourselves. Take on everything, period. So if I'm not your leader, I'm a temple. Maybe it's time mentally to say, I don't have the capacity to help you with this right now, but I do have somebody that may be able to, or if you are able to, this might help you, things of that sort. And the reason why I'm saying this, it could be that people can seek you out for a lot of help, a lot of support, to do a lot of things, to extend yourself in such a way. And yes, it is great to be kind, and it's great to be generous, it is great to be there and reliable. But if you cannot also extend those things to yourself, especially mentally, that causes burnout, that causes mental breakdowns, that causes stifling in energy, that causes non-consistent emotions, where you're just all over the place and everything everywhere at once in that circumstance. So I want to make sure I'm not your leader. I cannot lead you in your life. I cannot continuously give you advice and you're not taking it. I cannot continuously be there for you and it feels like you never want to really be presently there for yourself. I am not your leader in your life. I cannot lead you to what actions you need to take, right? At all, because I'm not you. I can only go off the information that you're telling me. And even with that, it's going to be from my perspective, my morals, things of that sort, and me still outside looking in, because even if I'm like, you should do this, I'm not the person that's going to have to live with that decision. You are, because you're making it. So make sure that you are setting up proper boundaries, that you are being very vocal in what you can and can't do. Make sure that people, when they are coming to you, that it is with respect, that it's understanding that you are seeing each other's worth in what you can and cannot provide, and being very truthfully honest about that, right? Some people just feel like, since you have all of this, you should be able to do this. It's kind of, I'm hearing, I have a day off, does not mean that that is my free time for you, right? Or I said I'm not doing anything and now it's your time to vent and release. Right? We have to set those boundaries in place. You have to make sure that we are setting, I wanted to say river moats up in place. So yes, I can put down my drawbridge and you can come in, and like a temple where you can come in and I can share that space with you. But sometimes every now and again, I need to lift up that bridge, because right now I do not have the capacity. And I'm hoping that you will respect me enough, you feel like I'm worthy enough of that, because I know that I am, and be truthful and honest enough with me the same as I am with you, right? So make sure that, again, that patience and understanding and that mental is going hand in hand. Mentally, you cannot take on everybody's problems, everybody's issues, everybody's questions, concerns, frustrations, doubts, depressions. You cannot take it all in. You cannot take it all on. And it is weighing on you mentally, and or it could start to weigh on you mentally when you feel like you have the space for something that, in all honesty, you just don't right now. And that is perfectly fine. Okay? So mentally, just recognize, I'm not here to lead anyone. I'm not in control of anyone. I cannot dictate or direct anyone in what they should or shouldn't do, right? And in all honesty, it's a matter of thinking that I have patience for a lot of people and I can understand a lot of people. But if they are going hand in hand, I need to make sure that they are in balance and that I can actually hold that weight of that patience and understanding mentally, okay? For our body, we have, you are being watched over by your ancestors and protected in all ways. Always, okay? Know that you are guided. 444. So sometimes we are taking a new course of action. We are doing something different. We are taking an introspection. We are meditating. We are going out into the world, period. We're just anything that is happening in our life. Sometimes physically an emotion or a thought can come in and it causes our body to react in a way that's like, I shouldn't do this, right? I shouldn't speak on this. I shouldn't act on this. I shouldn't, like, I receive this. It's your body acts in a way that could be fearful. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but they want you to know that you are safe within your body. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. You are safe to move. You are safe to speak. You are safe to dance. You are safe to walk away. You are safe to stand still and be present. They're basically saying you are very safe and present in your body. Do not allow one emotion to cause one emotion to cause such a destructive motion in your life. I'm sorry, that meow got me, right? So if you are being watched over and protected, and always, especially in the physical body on this world, and there can be so many attacks on us, to our air quality, to our living quality, to our environmental quality, all of these things that could affect us on a physical level, including our mental being physically inside of our bodies, we are being watched and protected, right? So it's basically saying we can move with the authorization and knowledge that we have the power, and we have our backup, our army, our people that are ready to go for us no matter what we decide to do in action for this body. But either way, this card is signifying that it is time to take action. It is time to move. It is time for you to start putting your words in action, putting your plans that you wrote out or your vision boards into action. It is time to start putting your affirmations into action by believing that they are going to manifest for you. You are being watched and protected over it, right? And that also means with this new endeavor that you are deciding to go on, you will be protected and guided. We have literally the next card, time to stop playing yourself. You aren't fooling anyone. I didn't even hear him go over there. So time to stop playing. You aren't fooling anyone. Again, they are saying you are good. You are safe and secure in your body. Even your physical is safe as well, right? Because the mind, body, soul, and spirit is more than just mentally. It's also about mentally your dreams as well. It is mentally about your visions. It is mentally about your powers and psychic abilities, right? Physical is not just the physical body, but your environment as well. The physical environment, the outside forces of that, including what you can do. Right now, it is time to put action into it. If you know you need to clean something, it is time to clean something and stop playing with yourself. If you know you need to organize your closet, it's time to do that. If you know you need to set up a plan in motion for your business, for a new meditative schedule, for doing something that is going to allow you to, whatever it is, Spirit is saying, stop playing yourself. You're not fooling anyone. And by fooling anyone, they definitely mean them, right? You cannot trick, manipulate, any of that with them. They see it and they hear it all. Okay? So you are being watched and you are being protected. It's time to take action. Because if you continue to make an excuse for yourself and why you aren't moving forward and why you aren't doing something, they're going to make excuses for why they aren't doing something as well. Oh, that didn't work because of that. They didn't do that because of that. Right? They need action. Because your spirit needs to move. But if you aren't moving, it's going to be quite hard for you to move. Which leads us to the next one, which is spirit. Right? Mind, body, soul, spirit, mind, body, soul, spirit. Soul and spirit are the same in a sense, but we're also going to get a spirit card as well. So for our soul, we have, I'm dedicated to my craft and excited to I heard him, but I didn't see him. I'm dedicated to my craft and excited to expand. So in regards to our soul, which is, again, is us, which is eternally in our DNA, right? So we're thinking about our soul and how it's connected to our DNA, it's connected to our genetic makeup, it's connected to our lineage and past, present, and future, and things of that sort. It is great to be mindful that you have to be dedicated to my craft and excited to expand. You have to be dedicated to the craft of your soul, to the continuation of creating something new, of continuation of creating something different, the continuation of learning, the continuation of making mistakes, the continuation of risking embarrassment by being authentically yourself. Like, it's just, you have to be dedicated to the craft of your soul, the craft of that continuous connection, the craft of that continuous diving deep and seeing who I am. Are you dedicated to that? Right? For your soul, it says, I'm dedicated and excited to expand. Some people are okay with they are, and that can cipher their soul. And sometimes it comes out in a way that where you're sick, you're angry, you feel upset, you feel like things aren't working. It just starts lapping up in that way. Because again, your soul is always active. Your soul is always moving. Your soul is always ready on the go, which is why, depending on if you can tone it in or out, downloads come like this. Information comes like this. Truth is always out there like this. It's just everything is so wide open, right? And very like I can see. It reminds me of the show The Magicians, where Callie and the Dean had took a pill and they had wound up being in another world where they were able to see everything in all actuality, right? And it was a ram within a ram. And that's what Spirit is saying. It is saying right now you have to be excited for that expansion of allowing your soul to be within realms of rams. He's fucking up that teddy bear. And you have to be dedicated to that. You have to be dedicated to questioning it, to learning it, to listening, to following it, to stepping into that and enjoying what you are learning about yourself in all things. Right? That is so cute. So taking that in, recognizing I'm dedicated to my craft and excited to expand, that is your soul. You have to be dedicated to your soul, because that allows you to be dedicated to your soul purpose, which is living your life authentically for you, about you, and with you, right? That allows you to be dedicated to breaking cycles. That allows you to be dedicated to creating new things and new genetic makeups. That allows you to be excited in crafting something that is bigger and expansive than yourself. Because our soul is bigger than expensive than this self, right? It says also for our soul, they don't love or care about you, right? And sometimes, which is why I always tell people, like, your parents' ancestors are not the same as your ancestors, right? Because when your parents have their own ancestors and they came together and that allowed your lineage and then that came together, but that doesn't mean that they were always your parents and this. So it's like a consideration of, and not even just parents, siblings, friends, family, but with our soul is pure. Our soul doesn't go for the BS. Our soul doesn't care for things that does not serve it, that does not give it joy, that does not give it enlightenment, that does not tickle it, tease it, whatever it is. So when we have they don't care or love you, right? We have to think, who is not treating my soul with respect? Why do I always feel like I have to have my protection up around somebody? So it's certain things like that where we have to realize that if my soul is continuously here and I'm continuously expanding and growing on it, even while I'm in this current body, who doesn't care, right? And it kind of reminds you of when people will allow you to just do certain things or say certain things. That's when you're being a certain way or whatever it is, and they're just so quick to make these decisions that are very neglectful of you. Right? And sometimes not even in benefit of themselves. In a selfish manner, they're just doing things to do things. We have to recognize when people do not care or love about us, they do not care or love about our soul, which is eternally here, forever, right? So let's go ahead and spirit. What is the message for our spirit? The message for our spirit. It says, have you been feeding yourself? Have you been feeding yourself? And when I created this card, it is a means and a matter of thinking. What have I been feeding the nourishment of my soul, of my body, and of my mind? Right? And we're thinking of our mind, and it's not just what I think about throughout the day, but it's also my dreams, it's my subconscious, it's my visions, it's my fantasies. It's all of these things, right? What have I been feeding myself to craft that inside of my mind? To have me mentally think that, to have me mentally prepare that. What have I been feeding myself? What have I been over consuming? What have I allowed myself to indulge in that I actually enjoy? What have I been starving myself of? So certain things, when you're thinking mentally, I've been having nightmares and things of that sort. Have you mentally climbed in and, what are you doing for that? Do you listen to music as you go to sleep? Do you allow yourself a break about 10 to 15 minutes before you lay down? Or is your mind frazzled and worried right before you go to bed? Do you feel like you carry the day with you to your house, to your room, to your pillows, and your slumber? So certain things where it's like, what have you been feeding yourself throughout the day? Have you been feeding yourself affirmations? Have you been feeding yourself the expansion of being out in nature and allowing your brain to take that in? Have you been feeding yourself good conversation with friends and family around you, right? So mentally, how you been stimulating yourself in a way that is allowing you to continuously be fed good nourishment? In your body, have you been feeding things that you feel like weigh you down and not weight, because I'm a thick, fat bitch myself. But I mean, what have you been feeding yourself? Has it been giving you vitality? Has it been giving you pleasure? Do you feel like you are just doing this just to kind of have this be on the basic terms of, yeah, I'm feeding myself? Have you been nourishing your body with water? Have you been hydrating yourself with fruit? Have you been allowing yourself to actually feed yourself exercise as well? Because that's moving, stretching, yoga, meditating in the morning. It's also allowing your body to be at peace and at calm. So when I say feeding yourself, it's not just feeding yourself, but what have you consciously been feeding your subconscious? What have you consciously been feeding your environment? What have you consciously been feeding? He's peeking over the thing. It's so cute. What have you consciously been feeding your soul by allowing certain people in your environment where you're just like, something about them don't feel right. Something about this just don't feel right. I get sick every time I come here, or anytime this happens, or it's just like, that's your soul acting up, because what you're feeding it right now is not it. And it's just not it. Okay? This one I always say, proceed with caution, depending on how you navigate and how strong you and your community are and your mental strength is. But we have quit your job, no more earthly restrictions, right? And when I wrote this, it was a means of no more feeling like I'm confined to only having this certain type of job of making means of making funds, right? I can only do it this way. I have to work hard. It's like pulling yourself up by the bootstraps when they didn't give you any boots in the first place to pull yourself up by, right? So if you feel like I've been planning my strategy, which is needed before action is taken, what you've been getting. I've been thinking about revising my plan. I'm ready. I'm diving in. I have the support of myself and my community. I have a little bit saved up. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm trusting myself. I'm betting on myself. I'm trusting in my ancestors. So quit your job is not just about quitting your job as well. That's what also added no more earthly restrictions, because you could also be restricted to feeling like this is the only way to get a home. This is the only way to get a relationship. This is the only way to develop community. This is the only way to, when you think about earthly restrictions, we think about security. We think about not having any fear. We think about being able to rely on the sources of what we have. But if we are restricted by feeling like this is the only way to get it, this is the only way to obtain it, this is how it's presented to me, this is the only information I have, we start shrinking ourselves. And with the earth being so vast, and no matter who has lived, they have not traveled to every inch of the earth, why are we limiting ourselves to being so earthly restricted when the earth isn't even restricted in all of itself, right? So when I say quit your job, yes, if you've been thinking about that question and that, and you're like, this is your sign. But if you've been kind of like, maybe you're not quite sure, when you are in doubt, like the proverb said, stand in that, recognize that, and take that honestly in, okay? So no more earthly restrictions, which is also no more of a scarcity mindset. No more feeling like you have to hold yourself back for what society is saying or doing. That's in your body. No more earthly restrictions of what you can and can't wear because you don't have the body type, what you can and can't eat, or it's no more earthly restrictions. Quit that shit out. Cut it. The last note we have for spirit is stop being hard-headed. Go do that shit. Like I said, they really want you to put all of that into action. They really want you to recognize, hey, this is the time to start putting your shit into action. This is the time. You are protected, you are guided, you are led. It's time to start manifesting. And spirit, I need funds so that way I can be able to pay my rent. I'm going to need $5,000 by Monday. Make something work, make something shake, make something move, right? It's just kind of when you invoke that, when you speak that, right? That's what it is. It's like that. It's I have to believe. I have to know. No more earth restrictions, no more doubting myself, no more not moving, no more keeping people around me that drain me, that confuse me, that make me question in a bad way, not question it in a way of are we growing together, that bring me fear, that make me feel like I'm weighed down, like I always have to help them, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. Take it one step at a time. That reminded me I didn't get to do the proverb today. So let me go ahead and pull out our proverb for today. Oh, bless me. Oh no, my other one dropped. I see it though. I see this one. Okay. Oh shit. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's get into this proverb, shall we? Spirit, just a proverb for the mind, body, and soul. Proverb for the mind, body, and soul. Proverb for the mind, body, and soul, Spirit. We have 2. We have the number 2 for our proverb for our mind, body, and soul. Let's go ahead and crack that open. The receptive, above earth, below earth, earth upon earth, devotion brings wholeness. There is a time to lead and a time to let others lead. Devotion is the graceful application of service to something worthy. As a mare willingly carries a kind rider over the earth, her strength and nobility are not taken from her. So it is with humans when they allow themselves to be wisely guided rather than acting on their own initiative. Again, not your leader, a temple, right? It's allowing that space, and even above earth, below earth, removing those earth restrictions and just allowing yourself to be like that horse, where you're just like, I'm good. I'll let you lead me for a little bit. I'll see where this goes, because it also is you putting your plan into action. Do you trust your guys? Do you trust your community? Do you trust your partner? If that's what the case is, and not like romantic partner, but like possible business partner, things of that sort. It is allowing you to realize that it is okay to be receptive, to be receiving, to allow that in. Because when you are receptive, you allow yourself to trust yourself that you are not going to just be accepting everything, right? You don't need to take on everything, which is also with the mental. You don't need to take on everything. Just because you have choices doesn't mean that all those are going to be the decisions that you decide to make, right? So with that knowledge and understanding coming in, we have to recognize that if I'm getting lots of choices, that means it's going to be a decision. And I cannot have your issue, your problem, your question. You could just Google that answer, all those things on my head, right? Especially when that causing feeling like I can't move in my own body and I'm protected, right? We don't want that. We don't need that. Let's go on. Let's buy. Let's go ahead and round out. Let's go ahead and round out our past, present, and future. Oh my gosh, past, present, and future. Why am I thinking? Our mind, our body, and our soul, okay? Let's go ahead and round that out, shall we? We'll do something quick but long. Quick but long. Spirit, just one card for the mind, please. One card for the mind. I had to charge my cards again in the sun tomorrow. I said one, they gave me two. Can I get one card for the body, please? One card for the body, for the collective. then can I get one card for the soul, please? Okay, we got 2 for the mind, and they're both air signs. We're just going to go ahead and dive into that. Alrighty. So the first one that we have, which is the air sign, which is going to be Firefly. Again, this is our mental final messages from Spirit. Let's go ahead and get into this. So we have inspired and fantastic, yet fleeting. The Firefly contains the light of 1,000 stars. It's pure, radiant, and illuminating. The high frequency charge cannot be sustained for long. Therefore, the Firefly card indicates a moment of inspiration or awakening that quickly fades if you do not catch it. There is Firefly energy behind every poem, song, and invention. Our job is to be ready to harness this creative spirit when it graces our path. Question: what can you do to support this precious and elusive light? And that's, again, where you are setting more boundaries with yourself, where you are allowing more space and capacity for yourself at this moment in time, and you are allowing yourself like, hey, I don't have the patience for this, but I understand it, or I'm understanding what's going on, but I just don't have the patience to deal with it, right? And you want to take that in, because right now, if this is quick and the spark of inspiration comes, but you're dealing with Tim, Terry, Buck, and Sue and all their shit, you won't have time to actually do what you need to do on a mental capacity level to even plan some shit, to even think to ask somebody to help. And you're like, okay, what do you want me to do? I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far. It's time, right? Because that light, it may be small, but it's bright and big. If you get what I mean, you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm feeling, okay? So it says, when imbalanced, they writes, creates, and brainstorms. Literally for the mental, writing to get it all out on paper, creating in order to allow your mind to continue to develop and continue to expand, and brainstorm, right? Being able to put one pinpoint from here in your brain without feeling like it's cloudy and murky and convoluted. When you're out of balance, you're burnt out and you feel dull. Right? Like I said, it'll drain you. So bring it to balance, write a poem or draw. That's it. Get your creativity out. Get a little bit of in there. Even if it's just a goddamn haiku. Get it out. Okay? The Hawk is the last card in this deck. Sorry, the second to last. Which is watchful, all-seeing messenger of divinity. Sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move, which is kind of like the spirit watching us. The keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. Fate has its eyes on you and the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings and is sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly, though it may seem small or insignificant. It will eventually redirect your course. So again, just the way this firefly is small and they say it's fleeting, but it's quick, the same way that this message is coming in. Well, this message is inspiration. This inspiration is good news. This message is wisdom. This message is clearance. This message is an answer to a question. So we have to recognize that if this is all coming in and this energy is not to be trifled with, and this firefly is also not to be taken lightly and to be taken action quickly, we definitely want to make sure that we're mentally capable and prepared to have that for ourselves, okay? The next one that we have is the body, which is the tiger, which is fire energy, okay? Okay. There we go. So for the tiger, for within the body, is lunar force, ease in darkness, and feminine energy, which is crazy because I said I wanted to do this reading at night because that's what my body has been feeling compelled to, and I've been wanting to honor them. So we're going to honor the moon always. It says, it hunts at night and at one with the silence, fearing nothing. Right? It reminds us to take in the wild darkness to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits. Sensuality, receptivity, and devotion are all heightened in the midnight hour, just like the goddamn proverb we just read. And the tiger takes advantage of these boons, which is treasure, abundance, affluence, wealth, right? Spend some time in silence this evening, drinking in the potent calm. There is nothing to fear in the stillness except the awakening of your own power. So again, the spirit is saying, we got you. You're protected. It's time to go. Stop playing with yourself. You're not fooling anybody. Tap into this. Your power is awakening. Your mental, we're trying to mentally let you know in your dreams and your visions, hearing ringers in your ear, getting stings in your eye, getting a twitch in your nose, right? Your body is like, we're tapping into that as well. We're pulling into that as well because it's becoming more heightened. It's becoming more potent, right? And tigers, they hunt at night, which means they are taking action. They're moving forward. They're taking that course of doing what they know they need to do, right? There's nothing to fear. So we know that we're protected and there's nothing to fear, and it's just our power awakening. Sometimes you ever like wake up or something, you scare yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh shit, it's just me, right? That's kind of what spirit is saying. Right now, you're kind of like, oh shit, oh, that's just me. It's just your own power, your own energy, your own essence and source within yourself, which is why it is very cautiously aware. Sorry, it will pay you to be very cautiously aware of what you are feeding yourself, right? It says, when you're in balance, passionate, strong, and sensual, not sexual, sensual. Sensual is knowing yourself and how to pleasure yourself on all levels, including not just the one, okay? When you're out of balance, you're overstimulated, which when you start making excuses for why you can't do things or why it's too much or you're overstimulated. To bring into balance, which is candle gazing. Just staring at a candle, you have to sit there and stare at a candle, let it move, let it flicker, let it waver. And especially if it's a candle that smells good, being able to close your eyes and see if you can get each note and scent that is coming off the candle, and then opening your eyes and putting yourself back in the trance of now this flame is along with the scent, right? And now you are merging the two, kind of like off of Ratatouille when he was like, eat this, merge it. Kind of the same thing, okay? So taking that in. Our final one for our soul is the lamb, which is earth. Okay, definitely want us to get rooted, definitely want us to stay grounded, so that way when this comes in, we can make the decision quick. Sometimes in spirituality, people feel like if they make a decision quick, it won't be a good one. But if you trust yourself, you believe yourself, and you've been guided and you've been planning, and you aren't fearful, and you recognize who the fuck you are, you can make a decision quite quickly when it's presented in front of you, because you'll know this is the one for me. This is what I've been waiting for. The lamb is peaceful, prophetic, impatient. They are the bearer of an important message. So again, be looking out for that. Its contents can only be heard when a deep level of quiet has been established within self. The energy is an honest guidance you hear from an old friend, a young child, or sometimes a surprising stranger, right? So the last message may channel through another person, although the wisdom is what resonates from inside of you, right? It's kind of like hearing your own echo, but from someone else, right? Like I said, it's like, oh, that's just me. It's just you, baby. Okay? It says, approach this gentle creature with the utmost patience and reverence. Truth is a gift. Sit still, listen, and receive. So they really want you at this moment to sit still with your mind, sit still with your body, so that way you have the energy to take action, because they still want you to take action. That's where that balance comes in. And you won't know what to balance again if you're taking on everybody's shit and trying to balance it with you. But when in balance, you have a knowingness and an inner peace. You know who you are. Like I said, you can make the decision quick. I don't want that. That shop sounds like it's better for me. That trip sounds like it's better for me. I actually think I'm going to stay in today. I actually do want to go out, but I want to go over there today. So you'll understand, and it's this inner peace and trusting yourself. When you're out of balance, you are quiet, you are timid, and you are concerned, right? You know, if and but you're just quiet, you're timid, and you're concerned. So just like the soul, when we have to take in that reflection and knowledge. To bring into balance is meditation and listening. Okay? Again, going into self, candle gazing is also a way of meditating. It's also a way of trusting in that, getting that higher perspective, taking in that knowledge. Writing a poem is also meditating, taking in that knowledge. Did I read? I read the tiger, didn't I? Spirit is saying I didn't. So we're going to believe Spirit. Yeah, I read the tiger. I read it. Okay. I didn't read the hawk. For the hawk, we have when in balance, sees clearly and intuitively. Okay? That's it. Sees clearly, intuitively. When out of balance, they see too much and they're suspicious. Like I said, you're taking on too much. I got to get this, and now I got to figure out this piece of information. How are you going to brainstorm for your own project if you're trying to brainstorm to trying to super sleuth from somebody else's information, right? So bring into balance perspective shift. And the only way that you can flip your perspective is if you are in a mentally different state. The only way to get in a mentally different state sometimes is to meditate, to journal, to take a moment to just sit in fucking silence. Okay? So, for our mind, body, and soul right now, they want our mind to rest while our body is in action. Okay? So they want our mind to rest. They want our mind to be calm. They want our mind to be at ease while we are currently taking action, while we are currently taking a movement. Because the more our mind is at peace, we'll understand ourselves and love on ourselves and choose the right decision. Okay? So that has been our mind, body, and soul reading. Enjoy this moon. It's so beautiful. I can see it from my window. But enjoy this moon. Like I said, I'm coming back. But I do these readings live on my Instagram every Tuesday and Friday. And on special moon days or when I feel compelled to by spirit. You can also listen to my podcast, which I post every Monday and Thursday. And that is everything you can find me on is at Latisse_moon. I love you guys. But love yourselves more. Until next time.